Norm, the Cheers podcast that is also about great sports museums. Hi, how are you? I'm Mike. We are Tookie. We are Dave. We are the troika of folks that occasionally talk about Cheers when the episode warrants it. Nice to have everybody here. Sorry we missed you last week. A drunk driver decided that I should not be on a podcast last week, and I wasn't. I am okay. My car is not. It's a huge pain, but I am healthy. And so I am comfortable saying that at this point, a week later, because I don't think I'm going to get any money for pain and suffering. So there you go. So if people want to use this against me, I guess you can, which is probably not something I should say, just in case. Because every time, okay, so here's the thing. I keep saying, like, yeah, I feel pretty good. And then every time I say that to somebody, like, yeah, that happened to my cousin. And then, like, a week and a half after his accident, his head fell off. So, don't count your chickens before they're hatched. So also for legal stuff, if I feel awful tomorrow, I want money.
You are
It's because of the
allegedly
accident.
you're allegedly in good spirits, but not really.
I'm never in great spirits. My peak is moderate spirits. That is always my goal. And if I occasionally achieve it, that's a daily win. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
It's good to have aspirations.
Mm-hmm. I was just saying, so I had my rental car, so I decided to put some miles on it. So I took my son to Cooperstown yesterday, and we had a blast. I was really afraid that a 9-year-old kid would not be super into the Baseball Hall of Fame, and he loved it. And I highly recommend the Baseball Hall of Fame to everybody. Even non-baseball fans seem to really dig it. It's aesthetically really interesting. It's a fun museum layout, just a lot of great stuff about American history, and you just see stuff from like the first tours of Japan, and there's little things you don't think about, and they really lay it out well, and they explain it well, and it's just really great. And Cooperstown itself is a fun neighborhood to walk around. There's like mom and pop toy shops in there, and like candy shops, and really fun, really, really fun. And my son got a baseball bat with his name on it, so he's very happy.
Perfect.
So Cooperstown is essentially the Small Business Association's wet dream.
Yeah, kind of.
I like that.
I say that assuming these people actually own these businesses and that it's not just Zillow bought them and is renting them out, which is entirely possible. So please, yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping.
It seems fairly authentic. It was also it seems authentic in the sense too that like when we went a couple of years ago, I stuck around after Mike and our other mutual friend took off at around 6, and that town shut down. That was a Saturday, and that town was closed, with the exception of like a couple of bars and restaurants by like 6:30. It was like nobody's getting rich owning a business in Cooperstown that's not the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
But you know what? Good. They get their evenings to themselves, as it should be. Saturday night is yours. Hang out.
Sign me up for the Cooperstown
That's
lifestyle.
why Mary Tyler Moore used to be so popular on Saturday nights. You went home and spent time with your family. Good. Oh, yeah. So I started listening to the directed by James Burrows book. He's probably never going to be a guest on the podcast. It's dry. Whew. Oh, it's focaccia. It is an overcooked brisket. It's dry, baby.
Oh.
Whew. I'm not saying there's nothing of value there, but I am saying a man who focused so hard on the 22 best minutes possible could have edited this a bit. It's dry. He's an amazing, brilliant man. Oh. Like I'm a ways in, and we are only on Mary Tyler Moore. I'm like, you gotta get there, baby. It's been a while. You gotta get there faster.
Oof.
It's he's breaking down his childhood, like, and this is how I decided to. This is what influenced this decision in the Battle of the Bulge. It's like, dude, no, you directed some amazing TV. I don't need this much time in your childhood. I just don't need it. I'm so sorry your parents got divorced, and I know that was something, but okay, get there.
I just want to know if Gavin MacLeod and Mary Tyler Moore actually liked each other.
Oh,
And from all accounts, they did.
Yes.
Everyone respected Mary very, very much. Yes, she ran a tight ship. I was very happy to hear that. Yep, Mary was a boss.
Nice.
Yeah, but it was just kind of like, all right, tell us how this show got made and give us a funny anecdote and let's move on to the next show. Like you've got so many shows. I just I don't know.
do
I
you
don't
guys
know. And
remember?
James Burrows, if you're watching, I love you. You gave me so much joy to my life. I don't mean to hurt your feelings. It's a little dry.
Do you guys know where Mary Tyler Moore is streaming? Because I used to catch it off and on Nick at Night with my
Mm-hmm.
grandmother when I was staying up past my bedtime. So like
Mm-hmm.
Mary Tyler Moore and Rhoda
Oh,
after.
Rhoda. Love
I'm
Rhoda.
pretty sure it's on Hulu.
Okay.
I let my Hulu membership lapse. I used to get it free through Sprint, and then
Ah.
Sprint became T-Mobile, and I apparently I don't have it anymore. And
Oh.
I don't know that I watched Hulu enough
Rude.
to justify the expense, so I have not renewed. But maybe if I'm dying to watch Mary Tyler Moore, I shall. But I can watch Cheers on Peacock, and I find Peacock to have more fun stuff on it right now. So that's
Mm.
where I am. Hulu is great if you're really into catching up on current stuff. Like that's where you can catch up on everything network the day after it's come out.
Mhm.
Ah.
So there's certainly some value to that. But I don't know anything new, so
I
I'm
mean,
not
that
catching
is
a lot
true.
on the Hulu.
That's where we catch up on Mass Singer and such. And I
Yeah.
watched a couple of episodes of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which I found out was
Mm.
on Hulu,
Ah,
which I loved as a kid.
That was quality stuff.
It was good.
very nice.
You know,
Very nice.
Penn and Teller are part of the Witches Council. Spoiler, I know.
They are. Penn and Teller are interesting dudes.
Yes, absolutely.
They're interesting dudes. They're great magicians, really interesting performers. And I'll say this about Penn Jillette. In the past couple of years, he has stood up and say, you know, a lot of the things I thought I believed and really fought for, I'm starting to think were wrong, and I apologize for that. And
Hmm.
that's a big thing to own.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he and Teller, they had a great show called Bullshit that I thought was really great on Showtime.
That was a great show.
But they were like part of a like a libertarian think tank.
Oh yeah.
If I'm not mischaracterizing it, but you know they were very much libertarians of don't limit my rights, but they were also very pro gay rights. They were like you don't get to have a say in any of these things, and like finally, I don't know about Teller, but Penn has very much kind of said, yeah, you know, it makes me sad to think that, you know, I was trying very hard to help people and thought that this was the best way to go. And it really got weaponized. And I maybe should have seen that sooner.
Mm.
And so, like, I know a lot of people, you know, will hear that and go, look, you should have figured it out faster. Right now, I'm ready to welcome anyone who figures out that they fucked up. Anyone willing to say, my bad. I'm like, all right, come on over. We need numbers.
Yeah.
Come on over.
Boy, do we ever.
Ooh, do we ever? Yeah. Speaking of going back in time, Dave, what was going on in the comparatively progressive early part of 1986 when season 4, episode 14, Suspicion aired?
The show aired on January 16th, 1986. Perhaps a better time in America. You can make your own call. I purposely looked for like the lightest. Like I'm gonna play local for the next minute or so. I looked for the lightest, most nostalgic thing I could find, and also because the Challenger disaster is kind of looming over all of January.
10 days away, yeah.
Oh wow!
So it's a pretty heavy month. So I did kind of go back and look at the events of Sunday, the 12th of January, wherein your New England Patriots defeated the Miami Dolphins in what was then one of the biggest upsets in NFL history. The final score was 31-14, affording the New England Patriots their chance to play in their first ever Super Bowl. The less said about that Super Bowl, which will happen in a few weeks, probably the better. This was the height of the season.
We'll focus on the fact that they squished the fish.
They squished the fish.
Okay. I'm heavy spoilers for Super Bowl things, but I happened to expose a certain someone to the video, the music video for the Super Bowl shuffle.
Oh,
Yeah, and he loved it. But it turns out we went down a rabbit hole, and the New England Patriots had a response to the diss track,
I don't remember that at
and it was
all.
terrible. It's really bad.
New England, the Patriots, and me. Right? That
Wow.
one?
No, no, no. Like
Which one?
we got to dig it up and probably post it for the fandom because
Oh.
it's bad. It's really bad. And
Oh.
then like the Los Angeles, I think they were still Los Angeles. The Rams had a song. Like all these teams just suddenly came out with rap songs for,
The
for
That's
them.
Chargers,
it. It cost nothing to make, and they made money. They sold a ton
Yeah,
of albums. Yeah.
the Chargers theme song is
Chargers.
legit tremendous.
Oh, that's a great song. San Diego Superchargers. I will say this too: the song "Squish the Fish" I enjoyed. I was very excited when that would get some radio airplay.
Hmm.
This was like
Come
the
on, people,
first.
say it louder.
This was really the first event like that I remember like galvanizing the region. The first sort of sports event where that everybody was paying attention to. This is right as I'm kind of like dialing into the Celtics and going to start watching the Red Sox in the summer. And of course, it's going to kind of like snowball into the fall of '86 with the events with the Red Sox. But this at least for me is like this was like the sort of like this is like the
Yeah.
New England sports event
Mm.
that sort of like really kind
Yeah.
of launched the way I understand fandom in this region.
And when we were of an age to appreciate it,
Mm-hmm.
because I believe, 75 and 77, the Red Sox, it was a huge regional thing, but we were too young for that. And then
Way
the
too
Red Sox didn't do anything until the summer of '86 coming up, which was after the Super Bowl. So that was a big thing when they made the World Series. And as much as the Celtics dominated, it was very much a niche sport that did not get that kind of attention in Boston at that
Mm.
time. Even when Bird was starting to become a big deal, it wasn't until I think the second championship that they were airing all the finals in prime time instead of on tape delay. So it was,
Wow.
yeah, it was interesting. Yeah. I just rewatched Magic of Bird, A Courtship of Rivals, which is a great documentary on HBO. And yeah, just about how when Magic and Bird first came into the league, like they got people excited, but it took a few years for them to really get traction and get the country noticing. They had to really put the NBA on their shoulders.
I've
Yeah.
only ever known the NBA as a league of stars.
Oh yeah. No, you would, I think you would dig this documentary. It's a very
I'm
well done
sure.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a well done doc.
Even in New England with this incredible history with the Russell teams and the Cousy years and the '70s teams, like there was I remember. I mean, I remember wearing the T-shirt with the "Bury the Bears," and I didn't follow football, but like this was like a cultural thing. I remember wearing that to school, and like I remember like the Red Sox going to the World Series was huge. The fact that the Celtics were like winning or in contention every single year was kind of a little bit of an afterthought, which is bananas to me now, considering like
Yeah.
where the NBA is and
Mhm.
what we've all just kind of like lived through as Celtics fans
Yeah.
for the last couple months.
When football is big in your region, when you have a team doing well, it will always be the dominant sport, with the exception of LA. With that exception, I think because it's one game at a time. With every other sport, you're following a series, and you can't. Even the most hardcore fan, like Dave, is a hardcore basketball fan. And even in the finals, it was like, all right, I got a show. I'm going to miss this one. I'm going to be late to this game. When you're a football fan, you're going to be at that playoff game. You're going to clear that Sunday or Saturday night out, and you're going to be at the game. And you're clearly going to be there at the Super Bowl. The country shuts down for the Super Bowl. It's just different. It's much easier to unify everybody all at once for one game.
We got to get more pro-choice footballers to make a stance.
100%.
Yeah, Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see what he posted on Instagram?
No.
He shared, it wasn't his original, but he shared it from somebody else. It was very very pro-choice.
Hmm.
And he's a huge figure in a state that is sliding backwards in Ohio. So it was very good that he shared that, and hopefully, yeah, more will get behind that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
football's a weird sport politically.
Nice to have a Cleveland Brown we can be excited about.
Yeah.
No, he's a Cincinnati Bengal.
Oh, he's okay.
Joe
Okay.
Burrow's a
Oh, right,
Bengal.
right, 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 right. Yeah,
Yes, he's a quarterback. He was in the Super Bowl last year. Yeah,
that's right. Forget
Cincinnati.
forget the Browns. The Browns are trash. Set the Browns on
Yeah,
fire.
nothing good is happening in Cleveland.
Well, I have to say though, Super Bowl Shuffle remains an all-time rap song. It's bad. It's terrible, but
Yeah.
according to my my husband, who is now a scholar and aficionado when it comes to 80s rap, they understood the assignment and executed perfectly. All that encompasses 80s rap is when you enter a song, when you start on a song, you state your name and what you're here to say. And every one of those players did just that for 6 straight minutes.
Even though Jim McMahon did not show up for the recording,
Ah,
he recorded remotely.
ah.
Yeah. Yep. There's a documentary about the making of that. If you seek it out,
I
about the
need
making
to.
of the Super Bowl Shuffle. Yes.
I
Yep.
clearly need to.
All right, Tookie, our cold opening this week. If you wouldn't mind
Sure
breaking it down.
thing. Another short but sweet. I think they're leaning into the short but sweets, and I kind of appreciate that because it's like we don't need to draw out the punch of the cold open. So we enter into the bar. Carla is kind of sullen. She goes, "Oh, Woody, let me have a seat." What's a CC? Yeah.
A Canadian club.
Okay, cool. So she says, "Woody, let me have a CC on the rocks, something with a twist, and whatever else table 10 is drinking." And Sam sees how just downtrodden Carla is, and he's like, "Oh boy, your batteries are running low there, Carla." And she's like, "Well, I got two sick kids that kept me up half the night, and the neighbor's dog went into heat at 5 o'clock in this morning, and I am in the middle of a double shift here." And Norm said to her, "Well, on the bright side, at least you look like hell." And Sam, and she just walks off. She's, ugh. So Sam's like, oh dear. I think this calls for drastic measures. And Norm's like, B6? And Sam's like, yeah, B6. So Sam hops over to the jukebox and plays a song, which I looked up is My Mind Is Gone by Lil Ed and the Blues Imperial. And
Nice.
I don't know what, she just emerges from the cocoon and does like everybody in the town at Footloose, just starts to shimmy and sashay and dance all around the bar, and then sashays over to the jukebox, turns the song off, and says, "And leave it off." Roll credits.
Strong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Every time Rhea Perlman really gets a chance to break something down physically,
Yeah.
I'm very happy. She's going to have a dancing episode coming up with Dan Hedaya. That's so great.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, and I feel like this is the little preview that let them know, like, oh, we need to do something else with this later on. And they do. Yeah, it was really great. Really loved seeing Rhea in this one.
She can move.
She could move. Yes, she can move, and it was the perfect balance of being a fun dancer, but also it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There are people who are great dancers in a comedy who are not going to let it be fun. That is the moment where I need to show everyone just how gifted I am. And instead, she's like, I'm going to make this fun, and everyone's going to know how damn talented I am. She was great.
Always a bummer when a studio can't secure the rights to the original song. I like this Little Ed track. Was supposed to be was originally Shout by Otis Day and the Knights. Always such a bummer, and this is going to happen later on. I think once Lilith gets introduced, there's a wonderful sequence where everybody is at Fraser's house singing along to Mary Hopkins' "Those Were the Days," and they've since I think cut that scene out of syndication because they don't have the streaming rights to that song.
Oh. Now, when they originally did this, was it Shout, and then they changed it for syndication and streaming?
Yeah, streaming. I don't know if it's just
Oh,
syndication or if it's syndication and streaming, but yeah, it's uncanny how well this song works.
Yeah.
yeah.
We would have never known.
Nope. Would not have known. Yeah, and this is now. I don't know if I misspoke. This is not the first time because there was a cold open where Rhea Perlman is alone and the music is playing and she's breaking it down and moving great. And then when people are coming in, she pulls the cord out of the jukebox, acts like I'm just angry and bitter. And I don't remember which episode that was, but I also want to give credit for that. There are multiple times where she does this, and every time it kills.
Mm.
Every time Rhea slays, and it's great to have her. All right, season 4, episode 14, Suspicion. Unless I missed it, just an A story this week. There is a strange man in the bar. No one knows what's going on. Diane notices him first. He's sitting there in a black trench coat. Trench coat or top coat? I think a top coat. I'm not sure what the definition is between a trench coat and a top coat, but I feel like a trench coat is specifically for the rain and has layers. So I think this is a top coat.
Yeah, I think so too.
If we have anyone who knows fashion, I would love to hear if I'm getting that distinction correctly. So yeah, in there, in the top coat, looking, very, very scary, and watching the whole time. And they all start talking about, who is this guy? What's he doing? What's happening? They get Woody to go over to try to figure out what's going on, what's happening. He volunteers. He goes over, gets completely shut down. They try a trick on the phone to try to get him to do this, saying, I'm going to call him. And then Cliff, you're going to go over and look at his notes and see what he's been writing down. And that gets shut down very easily. And then they all go to the bathroom to talk about it. That's a great. Sam decides, all right, I'm just going to talk to this guy, figure out what's going on. Diane.
Uh-oh, you cut out.
What is that?
You cut out.
Did anyone hear something about making tough, cheap meat?
No.
Who ate what?
Hang on.
You're getting some crosstalk there, Mike D.
What? Who?
Yep, you can't trust the Bluetooth.
Oh, man. Well, I was going to say, I thought the stranger in the bar was Willem Dafoe at one point.
He does have he's got a very Dafoe chin. Like, there's
Yeah.
a lot of point to
Hello,
that
can
chin.
you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I can't hear you guys. This is weird.
You can't?
Not through my AirPods.
Well, you heard that.
Well, I can. No, these are blocking it out. I can hear you through my iPhone speaker.
Oh.
Oh, Lord, what's happening here?
This is Green Goblin energy.
Uh-oh.
Speaking of Willem Dafoe.
I think Kyle was watching. Kyle's also been watching like food videos. He's been into cooking lately. I think he might have been on the iPad, and I think we might have crossed signals.
Uh-oh. Hi, Kyle.
All right, let me try to go just without the AirPods.
You're raw dog in the audio.
There you go. What could happen?
Speaking
That.
of.
Oh, baby. Oh, yeah. Oh, this is a totally different feeling. Whew. I'm enjoying the danger of this podcast right now. That's half the excitement. All right. Diane admits that the guy is actually a classmate of hers. She's doing a study to see what happens when you introduce something new into a familiar environment, which seems like a shitty thing to do to your friends. They say, we don't get mad, and implying that they'll get even. After the commercial break, they all come back. She is incredibly tense, trying to figure out what they're going to do to get her back. What are they going to do to get her back? She does this whole thing with the muffin. And what are they going to do to get her back? What are they going to do to get her back? Finally, somebody comes in from the PBS station saying we're doing a thing about local working poets, and we'd love to put you on public access on public TV, which is suddenly not WGBH.
Yeah.
It's a totally different public TV, even though they were just on public TV last week. Anyway, she decides that this is how they're going to get him, because she's going to read some beautiful poetry and they're going to throw spitballs at her and make fun of her. So somehow, I really enjoyed this episode. And yet, somehow she decides that the way to foil their plan is to do Ode to a Chicken and Clucks Like a Hen, which, I'm sorry, if I was trying to embarrass her, that would be far better if I had a tape of her doing that than her poems. I don't get that. Also, Kelsey Grammer is back and makes an appearance, flies in from Denver because he thinks that Diane loves him again, and really kills it in a very, very tiny little scene.
Oh my gosh, like it's not a B story, but like it's got the depth of a second plot.
Yeah.
It's right there. Yeah, and you're just like, of course they wanted to make Frasier a regular. Of course. He's so good. Yeah, just the way his delivery and everything is perfect. Yeah, they find out that this was actually a PBS special, and she embarrassed herself on public television, and she's saying, that's not even what upsets me the most. I thought you guys had accepted me and you were going to get me back, and I was actually feeling good because you had tried to. And now I realize that you think of me as an outsider. And they say, oh, I'm sorry, go in and lay down. And as soon as she goes into Sam's office, they drop a bucket of water on her, and she comes back out and says, I love you guys. And I legitimately got choked up. Like watching that, just how touched Diane was that they cared and she was a part of the group and she was so happy. Enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed it.
Upswing from last week.
Especially high, but yeah, I liked it a lot. Woody, MVP of the episode.
Oh boy.
He was killing it this week. I feel like this was the first week where it was like Mariano Rivera figuring out his cut fastball. It was them going, oh, you know what we need to do with Woody? Just like this earnest interjection, like every 30 seconds. Boom, 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 boom. Like every joke of the week candidate I had was a Woody. It was really something.
He like the Woody Frasier combo in this. I think every supporting character, like everybody gets a kind of nice moment in this episode.
Yeah,
it's a really great like top to bottom like ensemble piece. But yeah, they just wring so much out of their lines without stopping the action at all. It's really like he and Kelsey Grammer really kill it this week.
Yeah, undeniable. And one of the nice things when they don't have a B story is everyone's a little bit more actively involved in the A story.
Yeah.
And all the supporting characters shine the most when they are adding something to the main story as opposed to carrying the main story, which is not that they can't do that sometimes. But yeah, these episodes where it's an A story and everyone's involved in the same objective is when I think Cheers is at its best. Those are the best episodes. And this is a great one. Yeah, everyone had great lines. As much as I thought Woody was the MVP and had the killer lines, John Ratzenberger had great jokes. Norm had great asides. Rhea Perlman we've already praised. Everyone was really good. It was great to have Kelsey Grammer back. It was so nice. And Sam at the center of it all, keeping it moving and always being funny, but also setting everybody up. And Diane as the antagonist, making all of that work. It was just great.
There's a nice like. Some of my favorite Ted Danson performances are ones where he doesn't have to carry the like emotional lifting of the plot, and he can just sort of like he never gets out of third gear in this episode, and it's so much fun to watch this guy who's you just get this picture of this man who's like generally content and not all that concerned with like when Diane asks him, do you ever like look at other characters, people in the bar make up stories, and he's like, nope. Like, yeah. He's a completely non-reflective human being. He's just kind of oozing through life, and like he's so good at portraying that. It's delightful.
It's this kind of interesting goofball mindfulness where he's completely in the moment just because he doesn't know anything else to be.
Yeah, which makes sense for a professional athlete.
Yep, it works perfectly.
The Zen of Sam.
Huh. Yeah. It is very nice. And it's fun when they turn on each other and then feel bad about it. It's very, very good. Yeah. I like, there was one line that is not my joke of the week. I shouldn't say it maybe, but just a very simple, trying to find out something about us. You don't know anything. Just the purity of that. These are the characters. Yes.
Yeah, everybody's kind of distilled down to their essence for like a couple of minutes at a time, and you get like a full blast of like unadulterated Frasier or unadulterated Cliff or unadulterated Woody, and it's great. And then the episode's able to kind of like shift. And meanwhile, Shelley Long is kind of like shouldering everything. like watching it a second time was really interesting. Watching, knowing that she's aware of what's happened, that she's the architect of what happens in the first half of the episode. She's such she's like totally egging everybody on. Like she's so like she's such the instigator for this whole for all of this distrust that she sows, and then feels like guilty that she like somehow did it, but like she's enjoying it while it's happening. It's really fun.
Yeah, it's excellent.
I really think the writers managed to find the pocket of what this show could be. I think they're coming into their own in the writers.
Yeah, with this new cast, with the chemistry there.
Yeah,
they're putting it together with the story arc of the season, what they need to do, how they all relate to each other. Yeah. Yep. They're getting it. All right, let's do some categories. Joke of the week. My joke of the week is a Woody. Has to be a Woody. I just love the moment where Carla calls to try to get that guy to come over to the phone and says, who may I ask is calling? And Carla has to slam the phone into the receiver because of the earnest, who may I ask is calling. I feel the delivery is perfect, and it gives you such a window into the backstory of Woody Boyd. Like, he was taught carefully by his parents.
Yeah.
That's what you do when you answer the phone, and he's so proud of himself when he gets that correct. And he's been doing that since he was strong enough to lift a phone. It was just great. Beautiful delivery. Tookie, your joke of the week.
When the group plots to try and figure out who the guy is, and things like, they wouldn't follow him into the ladies' room. So like, everybody, let's just get into the ladies' room one by one. And they all just single file line walk into the ladies' room. Oh, we should have spaced that out more.
Yep. Great physical joke. Great delivery.
Yeah.
Dave, your joke of the week.
Oh man, I'm gonna give a runner-up to Ted Danson as he's walking the poetry group back to the pool room. You see him working to come up with something clever to say, and he says, "So nice of you to drop by Cheers, where I serve the public many beers." It's so dumb, but it's like such a beautiful, like he's so proud of himself as he says it. It's a delightful moment. My joke of the week, I'll give to Rhea Perlman. She's observing Irving. The character is revealed to be Irving, the person who they assume to be some sort of spy watching them. She says he doesn't smoke, he doesn't talk, he looks at me like I'm not even there. You'd think I'd slept with him or something. I laughed, and I was also all right, I learned a little bit more about Carla.
Truth. Dave, your 80s thing of the week.
Oh boy. I gotta go with the presence of the Three Stooges. I feel like the 80s was the last time. We might have mentioned this before, but I feel like the 80s was like the last time when the Three Stooges was a universal, something universal that we could all like point to. Like if I talk to my daughter about the Three Stooges, it's going to go right over her head. She has no idea who those humans are.
No, that is true. Where they were popping up on late shows, and that was kind of the end of their reign.
And they were somewhat huge still when in the 80s, like watching reruns on Channel 38, and like they were part of like the New Year's marathons.
And referenced in really popular pop culture things. They were focused on in Lethal Weapon. Mm-hmm. They were mentioned times in Cheers. Oh yeah. Mel Gibson's character watches the Three Stooges in Lethal Weapon. Mel Gibson was a big Three Stooges fan, and he got them in there.
Okay.
There you go. It's not the Stooges' fault that Mel became Mel.
Does he know Shemp was Jew? Anyway.
I mean,
all right.
I think we're looking at a lot of Jews there. I'm not sure what Mel is looking at.
Yeah.
Like, okay. I'm pretty sure that was Jewish across the board, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, possibly.
The Howards, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Larry Fine was of the tribe.
I mean, come on. What are you looking at, Mel Gibson? If you're looking at those four men and be like, you know what? Those are some funny Catholics.
See, but we got to be careful, because I know at some point that was like Mel Gibson's defense to somebody at a restaurant. Point. Hey, I loved watching those Jews hit each other. How can I be anti-Semitic?
Help.
I'm positive that defense got laid out at some point.
Help.
And he made a TV movie about the Three Stooges.
Did he now? Who funded that shit?
That was Mel Gibson.
Oh my God. Because I'm of the mindset that there are certain people we got to stop giving money to, Wes Anderson being among them. But like, who gave...
Yeah. No, let's just clarify. Wes hasn't done anything wrong. You're just not a fan, right?
Yeah.
I don't want people being like, "Oh, Mel Gibson and
Wes
Anderson, what do they have in common?" Just
He's
the
not
only thing
canceled.
in common is Tookie doesn't like either of them.
We just got to stop giving him money.
Fair. I have to admit, and this might be the whitest thing I say today, I kind of enjoy some of the Wes Anderson stuff.
Oh God, Mike!
I'm sorry.
I was rooting for you.
I've enjoyed Wes Anderson here and there.
A little Wes Anderson. It's
oh my God.
Sorry. It's one of those things like I can acknowledge as a fault, but I'm not going to actively try to get rid of it.
Oh, the caucasity.
That last one was like
that was rough.
That was twee with a capital twee. Like that was
the French press. A certain someone dragged my black ass to see that, and I could have gone my whole life.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I couldn't get that one, but I love the one with Ray Fiennes. I thought that one was really, I enjoyed that one. What is it? The Budapest?
Oh, Grand Budapest Hotel is great. I love that movie.
Yeah. It's a fun one. It's fun.
He's not canceled. We just got to stop giving him money.
There you go.
I was so grateful to see Jeffrey Wright show up at the end of the French or the French Dispatch. Like I was like, thank you, just thank you for somehow just like interrupting this stream of white people musing about things that nobody cares about.
My 80s thing of the week is when they think he has the spy camera, and it's people still at a time where you needed to make a camera look like something else, and that was high tech. As opposed to just everyone has their phone out and is taking a picture whenever they want, and that no one actually has a camera anymore. That was my 80s thing of the week. That used to be a very, very big movie thing, was a camera that was hidden or looked like something else. Tookie, your 80s things.
Okay, so this was I had my hopes up. I thought this was going to be a cinematique episode because we had that lovely opening shot of like the Copley, Newbury Street area. And what leapt out at me is so many of the cars down in the street in that opening shot of like, you've got the Hancock and the Prue and you pan down and see the road. I think it's Newbury Street, but like all these old station wagons, just the boxy vehicles really leapt out at me. The boxiness of it, the steelness and the boxiness, $2.50 for cologne, that being actual cheap cologne, where cheap cologne nowadays is like $20, right? So not only the Three Stooges, but the fact that they were looking up the TV programming in the paper. You had to actually see when the listings would be on. Any mention of Shemp feels of a time for me. The guy, so they thought it was his camera, but just the fact that it was like this big hunk of a Zippo lighter, I don't see those around anymore.
Those persevered into the 21st century, though.
Yeah.
I will say that. I don't mean to quibble.
No, but they're of a niche. Like you really had to be some sort of like hipster zaddy to carry around. You had to be going for a certain aesthetic.
Yeah. It's funny, when the Zippos always make me think Reservoir Dogs, with Harvey Keitel trying to snap his fingers to get the thing to light, where I'm like, that was the best take? You sure?
And then
I love Reservoir Dogs.
I haven't seen that. Sorry. And then two more. Mention of the KGB, obviously, because this was Cold War times. So that felt very 80s when Cliff thought he was a KGB member. And then the last one, when Norm tells Cliff he hasn't bought a stamp since the Johnson administration. So the fact that Lyndon Johnson's presidency was still relevant-ish enough in the minds of adults in the 80s, that left out at me. So those are my things that I spotted.
Strong. How white was this week's episode, Tookie?
Oh man, we're the casting department is lacking. Okay, we're lacking. So in the cold open, we've got a black man on the phone, a Malcolm Gladwell looking guy. I'm going to count him as half of one of us. He has some, he's got some Malcolm Gladwell energy happening. So a Malcolm Gladwell looking guy talking to two black women who are behind Norm, one of which you see later goes and stands by the piano. A black man in red enters from the pool room, and then a black man in beige was sitting next to the jukebox. So that's 5. And then in the scene 1, there was an Asian woman in red with like a doily collar situation who's at the far back end of the hallway leading to the pool room. A black woman at the bar, a black woman at the back wall, and then they reused 4 extras from the previous scene. Scene 2, same folks. Scene 3, there's a black woman in brown talking to the same black woman in gray from 2 scenes ago. A black man in beige at the upper booth, a black woman in like a multicolored cardigan. It was like lavender-ish, who passed by Diane. And then 2 reused extras from prior. And then scene 3A, the same folks, including the Malcolm Gladwell looking guy. So all in all, 10 people if you don't count the repeats.
Okay.
We're lacking.
Yeah. Not moving in the right direction.
No, we're lacking.
Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts about this week's episode? I don't know if we've delved into it enough. This is part of me. It's like we talked about it, and it's just a strong episode. And I don't know if we didn't get enough trivia in there, but yeah, I mean, I feel like that was the episode. Like, praised it, best lines, it's there. Yeah, nothing terribly vexing about it, nothing problematic that we really had to cover, other than a normal episode of Cheers. Yeah,
it's a really fairly straightforward episode of TV without being like reductive or like it's funny, like the tropes aren't really there. Like there's kind of there's a little bit of like a joke being played, but that's not even the point of the episode. Like that's, I thought was really interesting. That was the point of the episode wasn't the joke that Diane was playing on her friends, but actually like the effects that has on the group and how they feel about her and how she feels about how she hopes to be reintegrated within their friend group. That was like a surprising turn. And I feel like sometimes those turns can feel a little bit underserved by like a 22-minute sitcom. And this one, I thought they balanced it really, really well. Like the first half felt full and interesting, and the second half didn't feel like rushed or anything. I thought they did a really good job kind of like navigating a kind of somewhat non-traditional sitcom plot.
Well paced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say the writers are in their pocket, not quite in their bag yet, but they're getting into their pocket where the jokes, like it's all tight. We really get a clear sense of who's who and what's what at this bar. We know these people, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a hallmark of some strong writing. And the fact that like so much of it still holds up sitcom-wise. Almost 40 years later.
Yeah, it's strong.
Yeah,
it's a strong episode, and it was nice to see. You could tell the writers were enjoying writing for Kelsey Grammer and Woody Harrelson, and were figuring out their strengths and really learned how to play into those. Yeah, you just felt like they kind of had all the moves in their basket right then. It was good. It was good.
And I think this was a really well-directed episode too, just from like the camera perspective, and just like capturing those bodies in motion repeatedly. Carla's dance, Woody's vault over the bar.
Oh yeah,
which is great, and like got a little like gasp from the audience. Even like Frasier like moving through.
We're 6 years away from White Man Can't Jump.
Yeah, you can see it. Like he's ripped.
Yeah.
They do a really like even the unified when everybody turns their back on Diane before that first commercial break. Like there's all these kind of like nice subtle moments where we get to see these characters kind of in motion, and it just adds to that feeling of like these are human beings as opposed to just talking joke heads.
Yeah, well put. All right, do we have anything to plug this week?
I'll be at Starlight Square and the Comedy Studio on Friday night at 7 and 8 p.m. respectively.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Very nice. David?
Nothing for me this week. Nothing for me. I'm keeping a low profile this week.
Very nice. I'm at Comedy Back Bay on Thursday and the Comedy Studio on Saturday.
Woo.
So come on out. Check it out.
We keep missing each other at the studio by a day.
I know.
The conspiracy's afoot.
Tragedy.
Ah,
They know we're going to overwhelm everyone else if we're there at the same time.
that's true.
They can't handle it. They can't handle the pure wattage.
Ah.
It's just too nobody's got corneas that can withstand that kind of glare.
It's in the interest of public health.
Okay. CDC guidelines say we can't be on the lineup.
The crowd that would be there, it would be impossible to socially distance. So we're helping the people.
Smart.
There you go. All right. We're going to say goodbye. I'm Tookie. What? Oh, see, I'm so tired. That's Tookie. That's Dave. I'm Mike.
Another technically flawless episode.
This is my inner aspirational monologue. One day it'll be true. I'm tired. And I'll see you next, guys. I got a lot of shit going on. I'm sorry. I'm dealing with a lot of stuff. All right. I'm going to do my best. We're going to be back in a week. Season 4, episode 15. Take care of yourself.